Hey, everybody, and we are live with an episode of Hot Jobs episode 215 to be exact. And Tara is away this week, and the rest of the team is outsourcing and doing operations. So you get me today for a nice 30 minutes of the hottest jobs, internships, and career advice. And so if you're joining us today, I would like you to let me know. Let us know in the comments what you're looking for. If you're a job seeker, what type of job and where you'd like to do it. That'd be the key, right? So if you just say remote, that doesn't help anybody. If you say I'm looking for a remote HR job and I'm stationed in this area, then it may help as well. Also, keep in mind, remote and hybrid are two different things. And so some of the jobs may be partially remote and require to go to the office a couple of days or require you to travel, right? Lots of different options there. So be as specific as you can when you tell us what you're looking for and why. Additionally, if you're just joining in, let us know where you're joining in from. It's cool to see people getting and joining us from all over the world. Now, before I get started, I would like to thank our partners at Sony OTC, Sony Over the Counter. As you can see right there, you can't really see any kind of a hearing aid. And in fact, for the over-the-counter hearing aids, I thought it was an antenna that stuck out. It's actually something to help you pull the antenna out. But our partners at sponsors at Sony and the new over-the-counter hearing aids improve quality of life for people with mild to moderate hearing loss. They are FDA cleared. They are self-fitting and customizable. They prioritize ease of use. They're comfortable, discreet, and stylish, as you can see in the picture. And their wire-free design and one-step insertion makes it really easy to get them in there and out. And then the C20 model, which is what I recommend, the ones that I was able to test, are rechargeable. So your insurance or health savings account may even cover the cost of them. There are also discounts for veterans through ID.me, and they can be purchased at Sony.com or via Amazon. So that's our partners at Sony OTC. And look, I've been amazed at how many veterans have been dealing with hearing loss, including my best friend who got one set and Justin Pearson who got another set. And what I'll tell you is that don't struggle because of ego or because it might be too difficult to get something to help you hear better, which will help you enjoy life better. So we've got Mark joining us from San Antonio, Texas, Mill City, USA. I was just texting with my friend Shantae Hall. She just jumped in with some LinkedIn questions for me, as she does on occasion. And then we've got Huntsville, Alabama, ever-growing location down there. I think they just moved an FBI headquarters down there. And then you've got Army Material Command down there. You got the air and space stuff down there. So thanks for joining us, Robert. All right. So I've got a couple topics there today that I would like to talk about. We've got some comments coming in. I would like to bring up some of the topics of the week. And so the first one is for people that are still in and for those that have gotten out. And what I'll share is that when I started my transition back in like late 2016, early 2017, and I was really engaging as a sergeant major with the bases, installations, transition assistance program, I found this cool tool called LinkedIn that enabled me to network way beyond the people I had access to. And one of the things that a common trait, something that I noticed very clearly, was that not all, but the vast majority of the innovation when it comes to getting on board with the Army Career Skills Program, DoD SkillBridge internships, when it came to integrating nonprofit organizations onto installations, training opportunities on installations, better quality of training services, more offerings, commands engaged. The gold star installation that was well known at that time was Joint Base Lewis McChord, JBLM. And I'd spoken a lot with the Army Soldier for Life team. My friend John Snyder was there. He was the program manager for Army Soldier for Life. I talked to that was Soldier for Life TAP. Then I talked to Soldier for Life team. I talked to a lot of leaders, and I said, why is JBLM the gold star for the transition programs and support to soldiers getting out? Soldiers and airmen typically there. And the answer was very simple as you dug into it. And it was that the first corps commander, the lieutenant general, that is the senior commander on that installation, asked to be briefed quarterly on TAP by the brigade commanders. He wanted a quarterly brief that included TAP numbers, attendance, and what they were doing to support people when they got out. That simple. And probably like an hour every quarter. And what happens is you have the trickle-down effect, right? When the 3-star asks about it, everyone that's rated and senior rated by him executes. It comes out in their policies and goes down to the commanders and ends up in their policy letters and bleeds down. It empowers the transition center, where you have a lot of transition service managers that want to do more, that are like handcuffed in some ways, and can engage commanders. Now you have them engaging the commander because the 3-star said it's a priority, right? And then they started tracking attendance. My God, just like they do for dental readiness, right? Which, as a first sergeant, if I had people that were not dental ready, I'd have a platoon sergeant march them down to the clinic and sit there until they got done. So I share this example because what it took, like, there's all the resources around, but for them to be used and integrated into the base and to get access to the service members, it took a commander asking to be briefed. And so that 3-star reached out to me a few years later after I'd gotten out for a call, and I was like, "Sir, I would gladly take that call. You did so much for our community as a commander." And he didn't even realize it. I mean, he very humbly said, "I was just taking care of people." So I say that just to remind, commanders, first sergeants, senior enlisted leaders, that one, your responsibility to your people doesn't end when they leave your unit. If you're a leader and a servant leader, I would imagine you would still care somewhat about what happens to them afterwards. And two, you can't offload responsibility to the transition center. That's not the way. Those contractors and very few GS civilians that are down there are doing their best, but they need your support. And so what I'll say is, ask to be briefed. That's it. Ask the transition center to send you numbers. Ask for them to be tracked. Ask for innovation, and it will happen. So that's my challenge to all of you. Two, I wanted to talk about requests, right? And entitlement. And I don't say it I don't want to say it in a mean way, but we have a lot of people that start their transition, whether they start it late, whether they start early, and they start reaching out to people and they feel entitled to a call, right? And what I mean by that is they get upset when there's a no. And so what I need to share with you in my particular example, and I should have posted about this the other day, someone sent me a request and I'm like, "Hey, I don't have time for that. And here's some resources you can go with." And they got mad, said it's a small world and they'll remember me, and then blocked me. And what I shared was they had a perfect path to getting support. Number one, I don't care if they block me. And number two, it's a small world. I can remember it the other way. I've been out here a while. But it was just this feeling that they are entitled to my time because they are a transitioning service member. And what I like to share is that everyone you reach out to on this platform has their own life going on, right? I've got a full-time job with all of our pursuits, all the engagements, all the classes. I'm mastering LinkedIn webinar on August 21st. I'm finally first vacation next week in Mexico with my children. So for me to carve time out of that for someone, I have to decide to take time away from work, take time away from my kids, take time away from my workout or personal time, take time away from sleep. I'm taking time away from something. And you just don't get it all the time with just like, "I need this, give it to me." And so what I want people to realize is that there are millions of veterans in industry that'd be happy to help. It's all about how you ask, right? And if they say no, right, "I don't have time," then thank them for responding, right? Be humble in your request. For this individual, I gave them things to do. I always give people qualifying events to decide whether I'm going to invest time in them. And he got mad. He said, "Why are you sending me to corporate websites?" And I told him, I said, "Go get a mentor from American Corporate Partners." I said, "Sign up for USO to attend my next webinar on August 21st. I think it's an 11 to 1 one." And I told him one other thing, like 4-block or USO transitions, something like that. I said, "Do these things and you'll get the answers to your questions." And so he had a perfect opportunity to do those and come back to me and say, "I did them. Thanks. That was amazing." And in which case I probably would have taken the call, but instead he got upset that I gave him something to do. He just wanted an easy button. And so he's not getting it from me, period. And I like, so you can ask here, big part of the transition is getting used to not denial, but failure. Maybe you apply for jobs and you don't get hired. You feel like it's a failure. You reach out to people and ask for interviews and it's a failure if they say no. You reach out to follow up and it could be a failure. And what I'll say is you have to take the baseball mindset. I mean, if you bat .330 over your career, there's a good chance you're going to make it into the Hall of Fame. Like a decent baseball average is right around 300. That's pretty good these days. And so that's 3 out of 10. So if you ask 10 people for a phone call, there's a pretty good chance 2 to 3 of them say yes. And that's all you need, right? So I want you to just keep that in mind and just, if someone says they don't have time, thank them and ask them if there's anything you could do to help. It's amazing how you can turn that around. "Hey, I'm so sorry about that. Is there anything I can do to assist?" Like, you want to talk about EQ? So think about how you engage to people. And I want you to always engage as if you are face to face, right? In person, asking. If you wouldn't say it to their face, don't say it over the keyboard warrior complex. So let's go. I got some jobs here, but I got some. Let's see what we got going on here. A lot of comments. My friend Gary just joined from Huntsville. Thanks for joining, Gary, the HR extraordinaire, Army First Sergeant, growing his career from the ground up in HR. I tell every senior enlisted leader that I talk to that wants to go into HR to talk to Gary. So thanks for joining us, Gary. We got Ramstein joining in. Fantastic base. Can I just tell you, I miss doner kebabs. My favorite food in the world. For some reason, they don't make them here. We got another Huntsville in the house. Michelle in there looking for a role in career development, ideally with an organization like HireMilitary or Hiring Our Heroes. I think I saw a note from you saying you applied to our remote career coach roles. They'll probably start doing interviews on those next week. So fingers crossed it works out. We've got Nathan saying, "I'm working hard in the hearing loss." And so it's not selective hearing. So you should check out Sony OTC. If you're not going to the VA or if you're not going to on base to TRICARE to get the hearing support, get it taken care of. I mean, I don't think it's something seen as so much of a negative anymore. Pensacola, Florida. I still think back to when it snowed there last year. Blew my mind. Tampa. I've been there like 3 times in the last year. It's such a great city. Let's see what else we got. San Diego. BS in cybersecurity, CompTIA Security Plus, pursuit of masters in cybersecurity while studying for CompTIA CYSA. So what I'll say is, Devin, please, if you're not doing it already, please talk to people in your desired field to make sure you're pursuing the right degrees. I don't necessarily know, based on my limited experience, that you need the master's degree. There may be a situation where some specific certs or boot camps or languages would be more desirable. Let's see. We said, reach out to ACP, and I heard back literally 1 business day later. I never went up. So, yeah, that's great to know, Nathan. I'm a huge fan. I'm on the advisory council. Make sure you engage with them. Their account leads will be reaching out to you to track. Operations leads will reach out to track your progress. You have a year to build an incredible relationship out there. And then let's see, we've got. No, I didn't take it down. It fell down. The Randall jersey, it's right there on the ground. So hold on, I'll get it later. I did not take the Randall jersey down. The Randall Cunningham jersey is still right there. The Philadelphia Eagles are still the Super Bowl champions. And I'll tell you, going to be tough to beat this year if everybody stays healthy for the most part. So, all right, too many comments for me to go through right now. So I'm going to take a break from some of the comments. And let's talk about breadcrumbs to a relationship real quick. So you wouldn't walk up to someone in the street and say, hey, could you be my mentor? Or, hey, could you get me a job? Or, hey, I saw your company's hiring. Would you refer me for a job? Like, you wouldn't do that, right? You'd have to build the relationship first. And so I like to talk about every time there's an engagement, there's an opportunity to follow a breadcrumb to a relationship, whether it's somebody referring you, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a sponsor, right? Those are breadcrumbs you follow. Those are multiple engagements that lead you to that. It doesn't happen right off the bat, right? And so those breadcrumbs are dropped when you engage with people. So when I engage with people and I take the time to write them a message back, I usually tell them something to do. If they do them and come back to me, they just followed a breadcrumb, right? And then maybe they get a call. And if they prepare for the call, maybe then it goes over well and I introduce them to someone. And if they follow up after talking to that person and give me feedback, that's another breadcrumb, right? And then they ask another question that shows they've done their research and the learning, and I follow it from there and there and there. And what happens is the multiple engagements and the multiple demonstrations that you value our time and effort and that you value our advice leads to a mentorship or a sponsorship call. So I did have a sergeant major reach out to me this week, and I followed up and said, do you want to hop on a call to discuss? Because I saw some things on his profile. And he said, yes, absolutely. And so we hopped on a call, and it was over lunchtime, and I introduced him to my friend Gary because he said he wanted to go into HR. He had HR operations and program management listed. I said, those aren't the same thing. So let's start talking with people in HR, talk with people in program management, talk with people in operations, and you're probably going to cross out 2, if not 3 of them. So I did take that call, but he was very humble. He said, thank you often. He listened. He was prepared. He wrote things down. I could hear him doing it. And so that means when he reaches out the next time, already I'm ready to say yes. And so those are the breadcrumbs for the relationship. Same thing, you could lay those breadcrumbs. I had a call with she calls me her BFF on LinkedIn, Kristen Savvy. She laid breadcrumbs by commenting on my post every day. I got to see her name, and then she posted every day, followed my advice. And so what I saw is that she was learning from the engagement. I saw her positive content, her engagement, everything else. She's now working for Fleet. I think it's Fleet and Family Services, but you can look her up, Kristen Savvy. And for transitioning military, she's on a government contract that you can book time with her for free, and she will be a career coach for you. So so I would tell you all to check them out. Same thing with Amish Smith has done it. Gary Steensgaard and I have built a friendship over time, and it was because he came down to one of my events very early on. I did not realize he was only 5'4". He's so much larger than life, but got to know him there, and we've engaged over the years to the point where I know if I call, he answers, and vice versa. So, so these breadcrumbs to a friendship, right? And so what I'll tell you all is that the easiest way to get to finding your personal board of directors, your mentors, is to start talking to people, following your advice, following up, and understanding it takes multiple engagements to do it. So if you start early, when you don't need anything, it makes it more comfortable. The other thing one of my conversations this week said was they were talking with someone and they brought up a job. Like, I saw this job at your company. It was the first time they talked to them. They said, they felt the vibe change, right? And I said, sure, absolutely, the vibe changed. And they're like, yeah, I realized that. The vibe changed because it was the first time, and you called to ask for X, Y, or Z, or advice, or whatever, and you brought up the job. Can you get me a job? And then it just became transactional. And so I just want people to realize that it shouldn't be transactional. You should show the person you're interested in them and then follow up. And so that's why, I posted this career coach role. So we still have it up. We have a remote part-time career coach opportunity, hourly. That's going to be working hand in hand with transitioning military, mostly in the cyber IT world, and helping them find their next careers. And we're not talking about like, here's a checklist, go do it. We're talking about taking them step by step through the process. Everything about figuring out what they want to do, helping them talk to mentors, maybe making some introductions using your network, getting them a mentor from ACP, getting them into different nonprofits for support, helping them get their resume together, their profile together, getting them prepped for interviews, negotiate salary, the whole thing. Like this is the dream. You get to work side by side with a group of service members and shepherd them through the process to find them a great job. And so that's that remote part-time career coach job on our website on HireMilitary.us. You can see it right there. So I encourage everyone that's interested to check out. I will put two disclaimers out there. One, it is part-time to start. I expect in the not too distant future, there will be opportunities for full-time and opportunities for growth in this program. And then two, if you are currently transitioning from the military, you're not qualified. And some people get their feelings hurt when I say this, but you cannot guide someone through the job search process without having gotten jobs yourself. So how are you going to prepare people for an interview? How are you going to help them negotiate salary? How are you going to write their resume? How are you going to do all of that without the experience yourself? So we're definitely looking for people that have some experience in the job search. So that is our career coach opportunity. And it's all found on HireMilitary.us. We have an intake coordinator from our partners at ComSeas Psychotherapy. So Sharon Prager, the CEO for ComSeas, started a psychotherapy practice to support service members, veterans, and first responders. Basically, and that includes military spouses. And so they have an intake coordinator role, remote, that I think pays $40 to $60 an hour based on experience and level experience. And they're working with our community, right? Providing support. I know there's a ton of military spouses out there and a bunch of service members that got out and wanted to continue to give back in the community. The key is you have to have an LMSW, so Licensed Master Social Work. So you have to be licensed in at least one state and be eligible to get licensed in New York. They'll get you licensed there. That's where their headquarters are. And then from there, you're just making sure people have a positive intake experience. So it's an intake coordinator at ComSeas Psychotherapy. We've got two other really cool jobs from our partners at Acuity International. They're solving some of the hardest problems around the world. We've got a paramedic job and a nurse practitioner position at Ascension Island. Now, I've recently heard from one of my former Space Force friends, Ed, that Ascension Island has some of the best fishing in the world on your days off. But Ascension Island is a little dot just about halfway between Brazil and Africa. Right there in the middle, right? And so they have paramedic and nurse practitioner opportunities there on Ascension Island. And if it's anything like what I heard for Kwajalein, which is said resort style living, it's basically like you'll be on a tropical island with all the sunlight and fishing that you want to do. Those are great opportunities. Again, go check them out at HireMilitary.us. We've got business analyst roles, both DoD SkillBridge and Army Career Skills Program and direct hire at DLA Finance. And we've got them in 7 locations. So those business analyst roles are analyzing some of the business side, some of the decisions, the financial stuff to help DLA Finance guide the commander to make better decisions, better use of resources. These are not anything that most of us have not, like most of us have done this in our careers. One of the great examples was Brad Theroff just completed an internship up at Battle Creek, Michigan as a business analyst. And he used his time as an ammunition NCO for a brigade, moving and tracking ammunition requests to verify that. He learned a lot about the business side of the house up there, financials, accounting, everything. I mean, like, these are the gaps for a lot of our senior enlisted community. So I encourage people to check those out. The thing about DLA Finance is they are on site. So the locations that they are available for business analysts, you could also do financial analyst or financial liaison. All the descriptions are on HireMilitary.us. Those are in Battle Creek, Michigan. Those are in Columbus, Ohio, Whitehall, New Cumberland, PA, Philadelphia, PA, Fort Belvoir, Virginia, the headquarters just outside of DC, Richmond, Virginia. And if you have accounts receivable experience, there are DoD skill bridge opportunities available in San Antonio, Texas. Only if you have accounts receivable experience. So if you're interested in those skill bridge or direct hire, go to HireMilitary.us and check them out. I will say for the direct hire, they are waiting for the hiring freeze to end. Right now, it goes through mid-October. My personal take is shortly after the new year, things will open up. We've got them racked and stacked and ready to send over them. So the last part, two more. We've got our partners at Veteran Service Brands. So we've got franchise opportunities, and you can go back and look at previous episodes of my office hours. But our partners at Veteran Service Brands, the founder, Jack Child, decided he wanted to create a franchise that in order to be a franchise partner, you had to be a veteran. So you have veterans serving the community, and it has blown up. I've spent a week each year in the last 2 years with their franchise partners, and I've never been more inspired to see veteran business leaders. So the franchise opportunities are nationwide. They also include skill bridge opportunities, and they are with G-Force parking lot striping. Sounds a little crazy, but all of these businesses need to be have parking lots restriped every few years. All the new home builds need to have striping put down. All the new regulations for parking and electric vehicle, handicapped, everything else like that. All that kind of stuff is done, including inside of factory warehouses, everything. They've got like so much work that they could shake a stick at. They're actually having to send people across country to do some of it. Paint core, commercial and residential painting. I mean, every time you move, you got to repaint basically. Mach 1 epoxy floors. I share the story about our CEO getting his epoxy floors redone, and they come with a lifetime guarantee. And then field ops. I mean, think about all the pickleball and the stadiums and the athletic fields. They've got the coolest little robots that you just basically design it, program it in, GPS guide it, and it does it all itself. So it's pretty freaking amazing if you haven't seen it. So those are veteran service brands. We've got those all listed on HireMilitary and our direct hire and our skill bridge. And you can always go out with our former member of our team and current member of the VSB team. That's how good of a partnership we have, Lucy Robinson, if you have questions. And then the last one, I did mention the career coach part-time roles. We are doing several of those. We've got a bunch of candidates, always looking for the best of the best to take care of our community. Go to HireMilitary.us and check those out. And then we are looking for a PM, a project manager on site at Fort Meade. The key is you have to have a full scope polygraph. So let me just count. You have to have a current full scope polygraph. And so I will tell you, if you don't know what a full scope polygraph is, you do not have one. I'm just going to put that out there. It is a lifestyle polygraph. It is not fun. It is typically given by civilians working at Cyber Command, National Security Agency, and a few others like the CIA, and for some active duty that are on the SIGINT side of the house or whatever. We don't need someone that's very savvy on this. We need someone that loves and can manage a project. So if you're in the Fort Meade area and you are interested, go ahead and check us out on HireMilitary.us. With all of our jobs, it will do you no good to send me a message saying, hey, I'd love to learn more. I'm not going to hop on a call and resell you on the job. Look at the job application, right? Follow the directions in the posts. Check it out online. If you have specific questions, send it to one of our recruiters. You could send it me a specific question if you have it, but you're better off sending it to Set Tara Soprano, right? If you're going to send me a message afterwards, say, hey, I applied. Thanks for the opportunity. At least you get your name ahead of me first, right? But don't send me messages saying I want to discuss it more. I have recruiters working it. I'm not going to work that. And so with that, we're at 30 minutes. I'm on again Thursday for office hours. I will be reviewing profiles live. So make sure you're on time. Make sure you're ready to volunteer if you want me to review your profiles. I'll give you advice in a moment. So check us out on Thursday at 2 p.m. For the next version with live profile reviews and some additional guidance. And then next week, we will put a pause on it. I will be not on the beach. I will be in a floppy hat and a swim shirt and lots of sunblock at the pool bar at our all-inclusive resort, enjoying life. But I'll be back the following week. And so with that, everybody, have a great week.